BC United's Kevin Falcon is taking a page out of Joe Biden's book and dropping out of the race. We have all the news for you right here on the Citi-Zen-Ship show. I am not a reporter. I am a quasi-educator, commentator. That's the goal, at least. But today, we really got to talk about some news because we've been doing our Road to the BC election campaign, talking about the upcoming election here in British Columbia. And there's been a very crazy development. The BC United, a political party that came out of the BC Liberals, they rebranded a few years ago into the BC Conservative, or correction, they rebranded into the BC United. And we were going to do a whole deep dive, go through their website, go check out their YouTube page, as we are going to do with the other political parties that are left standing. But there is no need anymore because the BC United is no longer. We are going to dive into this story right here. The BC United is suspending its campaign. The BC United is suspending its campaign. That's what this article says. Leader urges supporters to join with the BC Conservatives. So we are going to have a old school fashion showdown between the Conservatives and the NDP, the right and the left. It's going to be crazy. So yeah, let's take a quick look at this article. As many political watchers noted, Wednesday will likely go down as a monumental day in British Columbia politics, especially for a party formerly known as the BC Liberals. What is now known as the BC United will essentially not be a factor in the upcoming provincial election, as party leader Kevin Falcon's surprise move to suspend the official opposition's campaign and throw their weight behind John Rustad, and pardon again if I'm mispronouncing your name, and his upstart BC Conservatives. So, just skimming this article here, this is looking like a very strategic political move. The headline a little further down the page says that this is a capitalizing on the conservative boost, that the BC United was in distant third place behind both the BC NDP and the BC Conservatives, and fundraising numbers were on a downward trend. So this is actually, really cool. This is like one of these, it's kind of funny actually, in that maybe this is a vibe of 2024, because notably in the United States, we just had President Biden, who looked at his poll numbers and his opportunity of winning the election, and he made a call to fold and essentially pass the nomination over to his running mate, Vice President Kamala Harris. So we just had that happen about a month ago in the United States, and now here we're seeing a very another similar kind of strategic move where this Kevin Falcon, he looked at the numbers and said, you know what, it's not looking so great, and I guess he'd rather have the Conservatives win than the New Democrats, and there you go. In the interest of public good, or I guess he would argue in the interest of public good, the BC United is no longer. This is really setting up for a right versus left kind of scenario. I always like to see more political parties. I'm always the guy that likes more choice, and I was hoping to interview the BC United and get more in depth into exactly what they are and what they believe. Here is how I think this story really affects the average voter. Number one is the point that we're kind of moving towards a two-party system now. The BC United, and formerly the BC Liberals, used to occupy the space in the center. Now, we can debate how effectively they did that, but that was the communication piece. That is what the marketing said. That's what they were trying to do, at least how effectively they did that or not. That we had the NDP on the left, the Conservative on the right, and the Liberals were kind of in this middle space. I think this middle space is important to have. I think it's important to have more options than not. And the way that now most voters are going to look at this and have the BC Conservatives on the right and the NDP on the left, it really does seem like we're moving to a two-party system. And that is kind of bad for democracy. The second point is that this is a big win for right-wing politics. This move truly bolsters the right, as the article says, and solidifies that this is the choice if you are right of center. I think the argument, I was really hoping to sit down with both the BC United and the BC Conservatives and kind of grilling them on differentiation. and uniqueness, and really what makes these two parties different. And clearly, there's been so much overlap that the two parties looked at each other and said, look, I guess conservative has a stronger brand name. So this BC United, which was in a rebranding kind of stage, they are now folding and they're just kind of going into the fold with the regular conservatives. So this is a big win for right-wing politics. And I think now, looking at the NDP and the Green Party, there's still not a united front on the left. So this really helps out right-wing politics. Lastly, I think this is really a big move in terms of provinces being different than the federal government. The BC NDP and the federal NDP are the only political parties that are actually affiliated with each other. Policies that are found in the provincial NDP are kind of mirrored, or at least agreed upon, by the federal NDP. At this point, the BC Conservatives and the federal Conservatives, or the, I guess, Canadian Conservative Party, is that the official name? The Conservative Party of Canada. The federals and the province do not have kind of they might have a handshake agreement, but there's no formal unity kind of in place. I see this move of getting rid of the BC Liberals as a stepping stone to possibly solidifying the bridge between the federal parties. And that, the things that happen at the federal level are really in line with what happens at the provincial level. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. We'd have to see how that plays out. My initial reaction is that it's not a bad thing, and actually it would help out the voter because it makes marketing even clearer. That now, we have the NDP for the left and the Conservatives for the right. I think, again, the big loss here is that loss of the middle space. And I think that this is a place where independents or other political parties could potentially emerge out of. That they're not at the extremes, that they occupy this space in the middle. And that is a really big benefit to a lot of voters out there. Well, with that, I want to thank you guys. I want to wish you a very awesome day. I was planning, I have this whole video ready. It's a good 30-minute video. I don't know if it's going to stay that. I had this whole video planned about Elections BC, and it was a walkthrough of the website and a reaction to some of their YouTube channel. I guess that's going to be next week because this kind of came in and bumped the other one that was planning on coming out today. But that's what happens, I guess. That's what kind of the fun of following news and having the independent YouTube channel that we can kind of just change. We can just change programming on the fly, because that's the beauty of having a one-man operation here. If you enjoyed this kind of information and this style of video podcast, do subscribe and share this video with a friend who is living in British Columbia and looking to get some more information in regards to this upcoming election. This is the Citi-Zen-Ship Show. My name is Clinton. We are on the road to the BC election. Please subscribe if you want to follow us along our journey. I thank you so much for joining us today. Big breaking news again, BC United collapse. We are now setting up for a two-party showdown. How do you think this is going to shake out? Leave it all in the comments down below. Thank you so much again, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.